Hello, everyone. This is my market review for the week of October 3rd to the 7th. This is our free YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe and like. If there's a particular ticker, let us know in the comment. I would be sure to add that in next time. Or if there's anything else you guys like to see, please do comment below in this video. So let's look at what we have in the coming up week ahead for us. All right, so let's look at what we had, especially where the dollar is going, because as you know, dollar impacts our stock market, how it's moving. And as we saw, it's been running now for a couple of weeks, and this is the channel that it's been respecting very nicely. So we are pulling back slightly. As we pulled back, we saw market move a little bit. However, and then at the end of the day on Friday, we had quite the sell-off. So dollar did start to move up a little bit. So this is what you want to draw these lines on your chart. If we start to break below this trend line, dollar does have a room to come back down. However, if it finds a support here and we move higher, you will see the equity market, your stock prices will start to come back down again. So definitely pay attention to what the dollar is bringing. As along with I'm always looking at the 10-year, how the 10-year is doing. I think on the 10-year, most part of it, we can say we are on the higher end of it now. We're no longer in the middle or at the low parts of it. We're pretty high on the 10-year. Does it have a little bit more room? Yeah, I think there's probably another 10, 20 point basis that it can move up to. This is what I am looking for it. If that happens, that's where our market will come down to, I would say, SPX into the 3,500 area. So that should give the market a bottom, and this would be the higher that we see. Or we might start to see a little bit of a little bit of the consolidation happening, and then slowly start to stuff to creep up, because the earnings are going to be starting to come out as well. In the next 2 weeks, we're going to start to see companies release their earnings, so that will also have an impact on the market. The other thing I also want to mention is my analysis is based on current market conditions. However, the market is also impacted by other events that could change movement in the market. So always keep your eyes and ears open. Always be looking for what kind of news is coming out. So do pay attention to that. So is the 10-year done? I don't think so. I think we do have a little bit more room to go up, but this is the channel. It's trying to come back into it again. So I'll be keeping an eye to see how we respect here and how we are moving and how it's going to impact our stock market. So let's look at what SPX did. All right, so looking at SPX last week, we had this bear flag. We definitely broke below it. And just so you guys know, this last hour, if we go down to, let's go down to the 5-minute chart, and we can see the last sell-off that happened in the market around I would say the pressure came, it was already pretty much a downtrend day. However, the pressure came in at the very last. And that's just something that at the quarter end, JP Morgan has that trade that goes out every quarter. So this doesn't happen. It's not that it only happened this quarter. It pretty much, it could be in a positive next quarter. It could be in negative again next quarter. So this call, when it went out, that's where it created this big sell-off, because that was for a $6 billion selling imbalance. And that made the pressure on SPX to sell off. Was that a market makers? We don't know. Will the market makers also had some pressure put in here as well? No, I think we won't know, but I personally think this just happened to be the rest of the selling that continued for the last 2-3 minutes that happened in the market. So what I'm looking for SPX, depending on what the open is gonna be like for this week, it does definitely has a pressure to come down to it. If we look at it, we are sitting at a level that we could bounce. And then the other thing is, we're pretty low on the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. So a lot of the technicals are pretty bottomed out. Look at your RSI, it's pretty low as well. And this is my 200. This green line is my 200, and this is my 10 moving average as well. So if we are to come down, this is what I am looking for it. If there's a sudden pressure and we start to fall back, which isn't much compared to what we have already dropped below, we have the percentage we have dropped. This would be roughly another 2%, and I don't think so that's much for the market to pull back. So this is the level I'm looking for from the 3,500 to 3,518, anywhere in between we get a bounce. However, if we are starting to bounce, then you want to pay attention to your 10 moving average. If we are starting to get back up, then these levels still stay in play. That we have is the 37.64, 38.14. So these are the levels that I will definitely be paying attention to it. The other thing is, we do have quite a bit of data coming out as well. So let's look at for next week. We have the PMI numbers coming out. We have the ISM numbers coming out. We got factory orders coming out as well. And then the biggest thing is we have got the ADP employment numbers and then the initial jobless claims. So all of these things will also set the tone for what's going to be coming up for the following week. And then we start those big earnings as well. And the one other thing that I do pay attention to is the reverse repo. So if you look at the Fed Reserve balance, that has come down quite a bit. So when that comes down, the reverse repo goes back up. So if we look at it, we closed at 2.4 billion on the reverse repo. When the money is leaving out of the Fed, the repo itself, it's usually that means the liquidity or the money is coming out of the stock market as well too. So when this number is going up, there's a lot of information on it that you could read up on it. This is the website for it, so feel free to go in. And I definitely do watch, and these numbers come out Eastern time around 1:15, so you can always check what the numbers are looking for it. So these are updated daily as well. All right, so let's look at some of the charts, what we have coming up for the week. So here's SPY. I'm just going to turn these indicators off. All right, so as we looked at the SPX, this is what I have for the SPY as well. So I'm looking at somewhere, this is kind of my own guidance, what I'm looking for it to do, kind of follow this path. But if I look at the monthly, and I did take screenshots from the Trading Ticks, what the, numbers are looking like in this flow that we have. So 365.84 is what you want to see on SPY. If it is starting to recover above 365.84, we definitely have a room to go up to 373, 72 area. And we did see a little bit of dark pool prints at 357.30. This isn't much for SPY, 1 billion to 3.5 billion. So, but we definitely want to pay attention to it when we do start to move back up. Are we gonna be that 365 is the number that I'm watching to see if we are going to start to break above that. And then I'm looking for these 370, 378, and 382. So we got all of these levels going back up. We do have a little bit of gaps as well that SPY needs to fill going above. So that's what I am watching currently. Do I still think it's going to pull back? Definitely has a room. However, we could start to consolidate based on a lot of the indicators being at the bottom. But again, most of the markets, when they do pull back, just keep that in mind that indicators are usually already very low when it does another leg down. So we do have a demand also coming up in the 300, 301 area as well. So we'll definitely be watching this, how this reacts. And we already looked at the SPX chart. Just go over one more time here. So this was broken below from right here in this level, and then we just continue to break below. These are all of the lines from last week, and I just added these ones today. So I am definitely looking for to see if we get this pullback and bounce from here. So these are the levels that I will be definitely paying attention to it. All right, so let's look at some other charts that I am gonna be watching. This is Netflix, and we are on the monthly chart here. It is definitely sitting at a level that it could bounce from it. This is demand from the daily chart. I will go over that. And these are your dark pool prints. So currently Netflix is above low print of it, 235.40. So we'll see if we can get above 237.30. If the market is starting to move back up, I am looking for this area to get filled and then continue to move higher. Or if we are gonna get this a little pull ups, I'm gonna be definitely paying attention to what zones are we getting rejected at, right? So if we look at it, this is holding this trend line very nicely right now. So all of these lines, I did add a few more to it, but if we look at it, we are holding these lines from last week as well pretty nicely, pretty strongly. So I want to watch to see if we reject here, if this is the reject, that put is going to be very nice. I would be watching to see if we can pull back to this 216, 219 area, and then this demand is going to become a used one. So this is already used pretty well right now. A lot of times it's been tried to come back up and go through it, but the pressure right here at 249 has been strong. But if you look at it, we do have a very nice gap for it to pull, for it to fill as well. Currently, candle did close below the 10 moving average. So if we are moving back up, I definitely want to see how we react at these levels. Any of these levels get rejected, we are coming down. So with the time on your put, and then you make sure you watch your, SPY, your 10-year, your dollar, paying attention to all of those when you're making a decision, whether you're going in a shorter or long-term put, will definitely help your account as well. All right. Next is Starbucks. All right, so let's look at the monthly quickly as well on this one. Look at these candles and look at the channel. This actually channel is from the daily, and we are still respecting on the monthly as well. And we got quite a bit of a dark pool print at 89.01. So this green is what I am gonna be watching. If the whole market is again having that move up, I will be definitely paying attention to what the 89 is bringing. This is your weekly demand zone as well, but if we are breaking below and you start to come down below 77, you bet we are gonna be testing out this weekly low as well, coming into this weekly demand zone as well. And it is sitting at this trend line on the weekly as well, and you can see the candle is not the best candle that I would look for it to going into a long on call side of it. And we are below the 10 on the weekly as well. And then let's look at the daily. Daily is already trying to break below that channel. So tomorrow would be a key to watch. If we are gonna regain above 10 and get above the 200, you got this small channel, that small gap that also needs to be filled. So you don't always have to look for these things to take swings only. You can take these levels. If things are moving, you can day trade and hold your, position with to see if it's filling this gap. Just make sure you have nice stop losses or trailing stops on your contracts. These things pay really well when you base it on the longer time frames, your analysis. So if we are getting above the 200, it gets above the 10 moving average as well, and we are starting to break above any of these levels, we got our next supply is in the 107 area. But the perfect entry would be if we can get with the rest of the market sell off coming down to this weekly zone. However, this 8901, definitely pay attention to it based on this dark pool print. If we do cross above 8901, then we definitely have a room to go back and test this 9248 as well. Okay, next is, let's look at Costco. Okay. Now go to the weekly here quickly. It is respecting this dollar, sorry, not dollar, this demand, I can't even talk, this diamond very nicely. So I do like Costco for it to come back and retest this area. And this also is a fib level of 50% as well. So if we get a reject here, and as you can see, I have a path on it, and this is what I'm looking for it to come down to it. So 438.69 is what I think we have a potential to come down, but I'm hoping that this follows this path nicely. We do have this small supply in here. If we bounce, have that pull back, come down to this 458 area, and then that move up, you have a room up back to that 493, 497, slight pullback, and then retest this 50% fib level of 511, and then come down. So those are the things that I am going to be definitely watching on Costco. And it's, they also have earnings coming up as well. No, they already had their earnings, sorry. But definitely pay attention to any of these lines. If they are breaking below 452, then we are heading down to, we do have a small demand right here at the 440, and then we have the 4-hour demand right here in 414, and then below is the 382. If we are having that, that rug pull kind of a move, then that definitely has a room to come down to it. Okay, next is QCOM. I do like this name is because it is sitting in a very nice demand area. However, the one thing I do want to watch and see is if we are kind of move from this demand with that really nice solid green candle, this has a room to go back up into the 124, 128 area. However, if we are losing any of these zones coming down, it has a really nice gap here to fill as well. So you do want to pay attention to what kind of candles we are forming and where we are getting rejected on these levels. So if it's struggling to break above this level, this gap is pretty beautiful for it to fill. And that's a monthly gap as well. Monthly demand as well, to where it's going to come sit at it once it fills that gap. So definitely watch QCOM on your list. It is losing the 200 moving average on the weekly. So I'm definitely curious. I have a couple my my alerts set up on it. So I'm definitely watching to see how QCOM reacts. I think this will, with the time on, would pay very nicely. Okay, next I have is McDonald's. Do like this name as well. It is sitting looking for this demand zone if we are going to pull back. However, it has a very nice dark pool print at 232.28. So if we recapture this level and move back up, McDonald's definitely has a room to go up to the 244, 246 area and retest this fresh supply zone as well. And it has a pretty nice dark pool level at 256 as well. So definitely watching how we react to the 232 area as well. XLU, I know I keep saying that this is the sector I think the money is gonna rotate back into it. It did break below my second trend line. However, I am watching this, how it respects this demand zone. If it does respect, if it breaks below, then my next target is this weekly demand zone on it. But if we bounce from it and recapture this trend line, I'm looking for this thing to head back to the 69. And we have a very nice dark pool print in the 74.97 area as well. So that's what I'm watching on XLU, and this is our weekly demand as well. So pay attention to if we start to lose below 65. However, always remember, don't just jump into a put because it lost below this box, right? Give yourself extra to see how these candles, if you look at it, we had a fake out, we came down and we recaptured it very nicely. And this is on the weekly, right? So don't get caught when they are hunting for the stop losses, because this is where a lot of people's orders would have been taken out, right? So I would definitely be watching how, some of these candles form and move from it, and then look for an entry in the direction that whether it's a bounce or it is a really reject and we're coming down into the weekly zone as well. So that's what I'm watching on that. And then let's look at plug. This should fit into, pretty much everybody's budget. So this is the monthly. This is kind of I'll show you on the daily how I have this zone that I think it's gonna follow. This is where the demand is on the monthly, so in the $8 to $10. And even if you were to buy 2024 contracts, they're pretty cheap, they're very reasonable. So should fit into pretty much everybody's budget, and you'll be buying time on it. And this is the weekly. What I'm watching on the weekly is break below of the 1995. And then I will look for to add a position for on the put side of it. Or if we do bounce, I'm watching how it reacts to the 200 moving average on the daily. And if it does on the daily, then I'm looking for this gap to be filled as well. So look at that gap fill. You can just, if you don't plan on holding for long and you want the full move to the $8 to the $10, just this gap fill would be very nice on plug. So definitely keep this one on your list. Next is Boeing. All right. So for Boeing, we have a demand coming up on the Boeing, and this is a fresh demand as well, hasn't been tested. If we are breaking below, it's actually the last time I had this path drawn on it, it's pretty much have followed it, and we are sitting at that 122 level where I thought it would bounce from it, but we've broken below one, it's below that level. So next would be this demand on it, and I feel like Boeing has definitely been leading the market. So I do come back to this chart quite often to look at it, how it's doing. If it's having a bounce, then I'll look at what is SPY and SPX is doing. So definitely watch this. I know it is scary, but if what the rug pull or whatever the market pulls back, these are actually the final zones that Boeing can end up coming to it. So I have 88, that's also monthly demand as well, and or we come down all the way to $66 as well. So definitely watch this one, how it reacts. If we do recover above 127.02 or reject at 127.02, this will be a beautiful put as well. If we are breaking above it, then you got a couple of the gaps going above as well to pay attention to it as well. But don't just, take your positions based on one chart. You should be looking at a whole lot of things to make decisions on any of these charts or on your positions. Okay. Let's look at NVDA. Do like this name. It has, I think it is forming that falling what? So if we are gonna hold this trend line and bounce, is gonna be beautiful. It's already met my level that I was looking for to take profit. I've held one of my runners and I've made over almost 600% on one of the trades with 2023 expirations on it. So when you are taking those time on your swings, you can wait for the full move to pay you with your runners. So that's something I'm watching, is for it to recover above 123. If it does, I think NVIDIA definitely has a $10, $20 move into it to come back and retest before, if rest of the market is pulling back. However, if things are really getting bad, then this is what I'm looking for. It to come test this 90.91 would be definitely $71 would be the area that I would start to add some shares. However, definitely has another demand, which I don't think so it would go to this low, but this is what I would be looking to add more to my portfolio for NVIDIA. All right, let's look at ROBLOX is another name. This is the daily, and I think if we break below this trend line right here, we're probably headed down to the 23, 21 area on ROBLOX as well. So this is what I am gonna be watching on ROBLOX. If you look at it, it has this inverse head and shoulder on it. This is the 4-hour chart. Any move up, if we are having, and it does not break this neckline of it and gets rejected, I think it has a more room to come down. Or if we just break below this and this trend line, I think we're headed back to the $23, $21 on it, since it's been rejected at this neckline few times already. I don't think so. If it does, it might have a little bit more room to come back to the 41, 42 area, but nothing more than that. I think it has any more to, give on this one. So definitely be watching this one as well. And then let's go to Tesla, everybody's favorite. They did have the numbers come out this weekend. Year over year, their delivery's been pretty good. So those numbers are high for, I think that numbers just came out a few hours ago today. So Tesla, I am watching for it to get above 270.13 because that's a dark pool print. So if we are gonna go back up, I'm looking for to take long dated puts, like a lot of time on it, into this 302 area. So anywhere in here, 293, 302, I will start to build my position. And I am looking for Tesla to be somewhere in this 206 low. And once the dust is settled, we're probably going to be looking in somewhere in the 150, 140 area on Tesla as well. So I'm definitely paying attention to this one. The contracts do pay very nicely. So these dark pool prints is going to be key tomorrow if we get above 270.13. However, if we get rejected, you can bet that we're coming down to this 210, 200 area as well. All right, let's look at last one, Google. All right. So Google's already broken below my level that I was looking for, 97.40. And then next demand is in this zone, or my level is 86.37. So that's what I'm gonna be watching. But as we know, a lot of the our indicators are bottomed out. So any bounce and we don't get above the 10 moving average, or reject at 97.40 or in the 100 area and we don't get above 102, then definitely more room to the downside of it. So that's it for this week. I hope you guys like the breakdown, like the going over what I'm seeing. But if there's any questions, do post your questions below. Please do like and subscribe to our channel, and let me know if there's anything else you guys want to see. Thank you.